What's good, my YouTube friends and family and fellow dragon riders alike? Welcome back! And today we are here with another toy unboxing video, and this time we are back once again with even more toys from the upcoming live-action adaptation of DreamWorks' How to Train Your Dragon. So today we are going to be taking a look at the Dragon Catcher set, the Plasma Sounds Toothless, Toothless and Hiccup, and the long-awaited Hideous Zippleback with Ruffnut and Tuffnut. Now let's go ahead and start off with the Dragon Catcher set. And here we have the Dragon Catcher set in its packaging, as it would most likely appear on store shelves. Now, I wasn't able to find this on Target or Walmart or anything, so I had to order this thing online. It cost me about like $19.99 plus taxes and stuff, but that's a whole different thing. Now, just to let you guys know, all the dragons that come inside the set are pretty much the exact same dragons that you would most likely get in these little blind boxes of the Book of Dragons, that you can actually find these in your local stores for tongue twister. You can find these at your local stores for $3.99 each. Now, the only thing that's different with all these dragons is that it actually comes with the little mangler that Hiccup uses to catch Toothless from the first movie. And as you can see right here, I happen to have the 2010 version. Now, yeah, I did a unboxing video of this thing like almost 3 years ago, and that has to be one of my popular toy unboxing videos that I've done since that time. And I still have all the stuff that came with this, but there's nothing really much going up on the side of these boxes. But on the back, you can see we have images of what comes in this set. So you can see we have the Mangler Catcher, and then the dragons that come in the set is the Gronkle, the Hideous Zippleback, the Monstrous Nightmare, the Deadly Natter, and Toothless the Night Fury. Nothing really much on this side of the box, but on this side you do see we have a nice image of Mason Thames and Nico Parker riding on top of Toothless. But let's go ahead and get this outside of the package. That's actually a nice background. I think I might save that for some time. Alright, we have gotten everything out of the pack. Now we are going to look at all the dragons from worst to best first, and then we will check out the Mangler last. So at number 5 in this set, we have the gruesome Gronkle. Now, like I said before, I did not really like the design that they went for the Gronkle, because if you go back and watch the animated films, you can see that this kind of looks this looks almost nothing like the original Gronkle. Like, they literally gave this thing the face of a dog, and they could have at least kept the two flappy ear things on the head. And why they had to change the color from brown to blue? Like, we already have a blue dragon in the gang, and that is Stormfly the Deadly Natter. And all of these dragons have the little Night Fury emblem on their wings somewhere. But yeah, number 5 on the dragon list is the gruesome Gronkle. Alright, and number 4 on the list we have is the Hideous Zippleback. Now, out of all the dragon designs, this is actually one of my favorites. The only reason why it is not up higher on the list is because there are other cooler dragon designs. But overall, I actually like the way how they did the Hideous Zippleback. I like how the pattern, like the dark green pattern on their necks, kind of reminds me of that one green snake that will be living in the rainforest. I forgot what it's called. It's like a green snake that has dark green spots on it. It's like one of the biggest snakes in the world. But anyway, yep, number 4 is the Hideous Zippleback. Alright, coming in at number 3 we have is the Deadly Natter. Now, I actually really like the way how they designed Stormfly within this movie. They made it look accurate and a little more creepier than the animated film. Like, even on the smaller figures and the actual figure itself, like the actual figures that come with the riders, you could actually tell they really put a lot of effort and detail onto these figures, especially with all the small bits and details and everything. But yep, number 3 is the Deadly Natter. And coming up at number 2 on the list we have is the Monstrous Nightmare. Now, honestly, when I saw this guy on the trailers and TV spots that they be showing on Instagram, I really loved the way how they made him light himself on fire. Like, that is one of the main things I was looking forward to seeing in the live action How to Train Your Dragon film. And they even got the pattern on the wings. And I really love the way how they put so much emotion into this movie, unlike Disney and their live action remakes, especially with the newest Lilo and Stitch not putting fucking Gantu in the movie. But anyway, that's besides the point. Number 2 was the Monstrous Nightmare, and you could already probably guess by now who is number 1 on the list. And if you haven't guessed by now, obviously the number 1 dragon on the list is none other than the famous Night Fury himself, Toothless, because come on, out of all the dragons in the How to Train Your Dragon universe, Toothless is the best looking one that they translated into the animated film to live action. The only thing I will say is that I kind of didn't really like how they designed the wings, because if you go back and watch the animated movie, you can see on the wings they actually had 6 of these spikes in the animated film, while in live action they only gave him 5. But that's one little nitpick that I kind of wasn't a fan of about the live action version of Toothless, but over time it started to grow on me. And obviously you could tell that this is a wild Night Fury, because you could tell there is no prosthetic tail fin on Toothless, so you could just say that this is your uninjured Night Fury, or any Night Fury in the How to Train Your Dragon world. But anyway, yep, that is Toothless. And as for the main function of this entire set is the dragon mangler itself. Now, comparing it to how it looks compared to the 2010 version, they definitely did some upgrades. Like, let's bring this guy back up real quick. Yeah, I actually like the way how this one has a more slick design to it, while this one is gigantic and more thicker. And as you can see, this dragon mangler has the little Night Fury emblem on it as well. And unlike this one where it closes and open, this one just stays open 24/7. And you can twist it and turn it whatever direction you want. Up, down, sideways. Wait, can it do a full 3? Oh yeah, it can turn all the way the fuck around. So can this one. So they kept that feature. But yeah, that's enough of you. Now, let us see if we can use this to try and catch a dragon. So let's go ahead and get Toothless out here. And to actually launch the net right here, you have to push down on this little button right here. So let's see if we can try to catch ourselves a wild Night Fury. 3, 2, 1. Come on. Oh, wait, do you gotta push down? Okay. Damn, go on. Go out. Oh. Okay, so you really gotta put some pressure into this thing. Okay, so this is what the net looks like after you launch it. It's basically just like a little piece of fabric that is held together by 4 little plasma shooters. And you actually have to, the way how you put this in back in the manglers, that you have to put them in sideways like a key until you hear all 3 of them make, or all 4 of them make a clicking noise. Just like so. And just 2 more to go. There. And 1 more. Come on, going. That's what she said. And we are all set to try and catch another dragon. Now, let me go ahead and try one more time with Toothless. So, you gotta really put some pressure into this thing. So, well, hold on, let me see if I can get a good shot for you guys. I think that's a good spot. Now, 3, 2, 1. That's the best you're gonna get. But if you're feeling lazy and the mangler doesn't really want to work properly, you could just launch it already, and then you could just pretend to do this. Oh no, the dragon's caught. So that is pretty much it for the dragon catcher set. Now let's go ahead and check out the Plasma Sounds Toothless. And after using the dragon catcher set to capture a wild night fury, right here we have the Plasma Sounds Toothless that actually has sounds in it. Now I also picked this guy up on Amazon. This one cost me $17.99 plus taxes and shipping, all that stuff. As you can see right here at the top, there is a try me session, but you have to pull out this tag in order to activate the sounds, but I'm not going to do that until this thing's fully out of the box. And as you can see up here, we already have a nice image of Nico Parker and Mason Thames, aka Hiccup and Astrid, riding on top of Toothless. Side box right here. Same on this side. And on the back, we have a nice image of the Plasma Sounds Toothless. And right here, we have a Fire Blast Deadly Natter. Now, I might pick this up, but I'm not entirely sure. And honestly, when I saw this thing online, I almost thought it was going to be the same price as the Skrill and the Rumble Horn, which was $9.99 for each dragon, but that was not the case. I was way off. But anyway, let's go ahead and get this Wild Night Fury out of its package. And here's the Wild Night Fury outside of the package. Now, if you hear a little bit of wind, that's because it started to get a little hot in here, so I decided to turn on the AC that's literally right next to me. And it looks like we have everyone's favorite game of how to build your dragon. Now, when you take this guy out of the package, you could clearly see that it comes with a tail that you have to reinstall on the back. And there's obviously before he lost his tail and got his prosthetic tail. So let us go ahead and just pop this bad boy into the other side of the tail. You gotta really put some pressure into that thing. And we have our Wild Night Fury all assembled. Now, we gotta remove this tag to actually get some noise out of this guy. And that was pretty easy, obviously. Now let's go ahead and check out the functions on this Night Fury. So he has a opening jaw. So he could open his mouth. No projectile. All four legs do rotate. Back, front, and the bottom you can see we have the Night Fury emblem. And here's the switch that actually makes the noise. So let's go ahead and turn that off for now. And this is the speaker that the noise comes out of. And the wings are on ball joints, which is one of my favorite portion of the wings instead of those real feel dragon wings, which we'll look at pretty soon. Same on this side. And no, well, this tail does rotate, but yeah, I just like to keep it in its actual position. So here's the actual gimmick. When you push the switch on, it has 3 modes. It has off, try me, and on. So let's go ahead and put that thing on. Well, no, let's do try me first. And then the button is right here, hidden on the spikes of Toothless. Now let's go ahead and see what noise comes out of him. Oh, let me put it up to the camera more so you guys can hear it. Alright, so that's try me. Now let's go ahead and turn this thing on. Wait, actually, you know what? Hold on, I'll be right back. I'm gonna turn off my AC. Alright, now that my AC is off right now, you guys could probably be able to hear the noise a little bit more better. Now it's already flipped to on. Now let's see what different sound effects we get. Alright, so it looks like we only get 3 sound effects. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised we didn't get the sound effect like the actual Night Fury roar from when Hiccup first meets Toothless and he actually roars in his face. Like, that's the kind of sound effect I was kind of hoping that we would get. And obviously, the mouth does not open. Like, that would have been a cool feature to have where the mouth opens. That's where the sound effects would come out of. But no. But if you want to do that, you would have to push down on the button and hold on the head at the same time. So let's actually try that and see how that works. Yeah, that kind of works a lot better. But anyway, overall, this is actually a pretty cool Night Fury toy. But with that being said, let's go ahead and try to tame this wild Night Fury. That's it. Easy. I'm not gonna hurt you. We're all friends. There we go. Doesn't that feel nice? I think I'll name you Toothless. And after a while of taming this wild Night Fury, we now have Toothless and Hiccup in their package as they would appear on store shelves. Now, I had purchased this toy from Target on May 16th, 2025. The only reason why I didn't unbox this thing sooner is because I wanted to have a few more toys to show instead of showing you guys just this one figure and be a little bit of a short video. But we are here now, and that's all that matters. Now, this is the Toothless with the real feel dragon wings, which is not really my favorite thing that they've done. Like, I wish they would have done the real feel dragon wings on ball joints rather than on springs. But we do have Hiccup right there hiding underneath Toothless's wing. On the back of the box, we have a nice image of Hiccup and Toothless. And I gotta say, for the display piece that they took a picture of, Hiccup looks a little bit too big on top of Toothless compared to what we actually have. And here are some of the other dragons available, like the Grunkle and Meatlug that we already took a look at, and the Deadly Natter and Astrid. Now, I'm not going to purchase this one since I already got this thing in the final battle pack. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get these duo, or let's get this duo out of their pack. And ripping them outside of their packaging, we now have Toothless and Hiccup here with us. Let's go ahead and take a look at Hiccup first. And here is Mason Thames, aka our Hiccup, for the live action remake. Now, I actually really love the paint job that they did on their faces. For such small figures, they did an outstanding job. And as you could tell, that this is a different Hiccup compared to the one that we got in the final battle pack, whereas this one does not have his prosthetic leg. And let's actually bring out that other Hiccup we got in that set real quick. So as you can see, this is the Hiccup that came with the Hiccup and Toothless set, and this is the Hiccup that came with the final battle pack set that came with a total of 4 dragons and 3 dragon riders. And as you can see, this Hiccup does indeed have his live action version of his prosthetic metal leg, which is actually pretty cool now that I'm looking at it more closely. I actually like the way how they went with this. But overall, pretty much the same figure except different limbs. And in case if you wanted to compare it to something else, here is the 2025 Hiccup right next to the Defenders of Berk Hiccup that was released back in 2014. Sorry, did I say 2014? I meant 2012 or 2013. Then, of course, there is the Hiccup from 2010. This is the Hiccup that came with the Dragon Striker that I did an unboxing video of a few years ago. Then, of course, we have the Hiccup from How to Train Your Dragon 2. This one was purchased off of eBay after I had lost my Hiccup a few years ago. And by the way, this Hiccup does come with a removable mask, which is actually one thing I actually like about this version of Hiccup. Then finally, we have the How to Train Your Dragon, the Hidden World version of Hiccup that was released in many different sets. Wow, that's a lot of hiccups on top of hiccups on top of hiccups on top of hiccups on top of hiccups. And Universal Studios had released a new theme park dedicated to How to Train Your Dragon in Epic Universe. And in one of those merch stores, they actually did release a figure of Hiccup and Toothless, which I really want to get because I'm seeing pictures of that thing online, and I really love the way how they made another model of this version of Hiccup, which is something I really am looking forward to seeing and unboxing for you guys. And before we move on to Toothless, I want to say one thing. I wish we would have gotten a figure of Hiccup from this version without him wearing his Dragon Rider outfit, because mostly in the movie we would see Hiccup wearing his leather furry vest instead of his whole Dragon Rider outfit. Like, if anything, what they should have done is they should have released this Plasma Sounds Toothless or another basic Toothless with a version of Hiccup that actually has his fur coat. But overall, those are just my comments. But anyway, here we have is the Real Feel Dragon Wings Toothless. Now, functioning motions, he could open and close his mouth. All front legs move, back legs move, Night Fury emblem right there on the stomach, and no articulation in the tail. And this is the brown tail fin. Now, this is the first tail fin that Hiccup actually made for Toothless. And here's the saddle, which the two pegs are right here for Hiccup's legs to slide into. And as for the dragon wings itself, like, I honestly do not like how they're on ball joints. Like, if you look at the packaging on the pictures, you could clearly see that the images show you that the wings are standing up like this. But when you actually get the toy, it's not like how it is in the pictures. Like, that's kind of like false advertisement. And as for a quick scale comparison, here's this Toothless compared to the one that we got in the final battle pack set, where the mouth does not move, but the wings are definitely on ball joints, which are actually my favorite part of these wings. And as you can see, there is a difference in the tail, whereas this one has the leather tail fin, while this one has the classic red Toothless tail fin. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Another scale comparison, here's this Toothless, again with the plasma sounds Toothless, and surprised that they're not actually the same size. Like, when you have them all standing up like this, you can see that this one's a little more taller, and this one's more shorter, but this one, for some reason, has a more bigger head than this one. And honestly, now that I'm looking at it, this head has more details on the scales compared to this one. Like, just pick that up. And for one last quick scale comparison, as for right now, here's this Toothless compared to the generic 2010 version of Toothless. Now, back in 2010, they knew what they were doing with these details on the scales. And I swear, is it just me, or does this tail fin look a lot more smaller than it actually is? Because I could have sworn like this thing was a little bit more larger. I don't know if I'm growing more, or did this thing just fucking shrink. I just turned my AC back on because it was getting a little more hot in here. And as for having Hiccup riding on top of Toothless, like I said, there goes Hiccup. There are pegs on Toothless's saddle for Hiccup's legs to slide into, because as you can see on the side of Hiccup's legs, there are holes right here, so that way you can be able to slide it into the saddle. So let's just do that real quick. And there we go. Hiccup is officially now on top of Toothless. Now, when putting your rider on top of your dragon, I would recommend putting them on the dragon first and then adjust their legs to however you want to afterwards. And then you can push the position the arms the way you want to make him lean down more like how he does in the trailers, and tilt his head up a little bit more. And yep, that's pretty much it. And that is it for the Hiccup and Toothless figure set. Now let's go ahead and move on to the one that I've been waiting for the most. Also, one more thing I want to comment about the Real Feel Dragon Wings before we move on to the last thing. Now, when it comes to the ball joints, they're actually pretty small, but what I would recommend doing to help the wings stay up more is that extend these outwards more this way, so that way it can actually connect to the back part of the wing, so that way it will probably help it stand up a lot more easier instead of just having it flop down. Like, you get what I'm trying to say? But anyway, moving on. And moving on to the final figure of today's video, it is the Hideous Zippleback with Ruffnut and Tuffnut. Now, let me tell you something. I went to multiple different Walmarts in person to try and find this thing, but when I got there, not only did they not have this, but they also didn't have any other How to Train Your Dragon toys yet. Like, all the Walmarts I went to didn't have a single figure for the new How to Train Your Dragon movie. Like, the toy line was already released on May 1st, so Target already got some merch. Hot Topic even got merch. Even GameStop got merch. Why is Walmart the only one that's being left out of all the fun? I swear by the time the movie comes out, Walmart better get their shit together and put some How to Train Your Dragon stuff on the shelves. So, I was able to obtain this figure by going online at walmart.com and purchasing this thing for a total of $28. But when you go and buy this thing in person, you can buy this thing for $20. And it's kind of crazy how I saw videos of other people on YouTube unboxing this thing at their local Walmarts, but meanwhile the Walmarts that are around my area don't have any dragon merch at all. Like, again, that makes no sense. But also, not only this is my second Zippleback figure in my whole How to Train Your Dragon set, but this is also my very first time ever getting Ruffnut and Tuffnut in any figure at all. But I like the design on the box overall. And one thing I also like is that they did not put the real feel dragon wings on the Hideous Zippleback. They're actually the real plastic wings on ball joints. And it says moving wings and moving heads. Nothing really much to see on the side of the box. Nothing on this side either. But on the back of the box, you see we have an awesome image of the Hideous Zippleback with Ruffnut and Tuffnut, with Ruffnut riding on Barf and Tuffnut over here hugging Belch's neck. And you can see we have some of the other dragons available. But with that being said, let's go ahead and finally get this two-headed dragon outside of its package. And we officially have the Hideous Zippleback with Ruffnut and Tuffnut outside of their packaging. Now, before we play our game of how to build your dragon, let's go ahead and take a look at the two twins first. And here's our live action versions of both Ruffnut and Tuffnut. Now, I gotta say, with Tuffnut's actor in the movie, I'm kind of okay with it. The only thing I have an issue with is that I thought that both of these guys were going to be teens and not full adults. But then I saw a TV spot of them in the arena saying how both of them got held back in many dragon training classes. Sorry if that was a spoiler. But anyway, I like Tuffnut's design, but Ruffnut, it's kind of growing on me, but at the same time, they're supposed to be twins for a reason. They're supposed to be looking alike. Like, why does Tuffnut have more darker hair and Ruffnut over here is more of a redhead? But anyway, overall, these are actually pretty good figures. And as for articulation, Ruffnut's head moves slightly only because of her hair. Arms, legs, pretty much the same for all the other figures. And Tuffnut is basically the same. And I really like the way how they painted their faces. But anyway, let's do a little comparison to all the other riders. And here we have the whole entire dragon crew all together. We have prosthetic leg Hiccup, Astrid, Snotlout, Fish Legs, and officially Ruffnut and Tuffnut. Now all we just need is a Gobber and Stoic figure, and we pretty much got a whole entire family. Although it would have been a cool thing to see a Stoic or a Gobber figure inside of the giant Red Death, but that's just my point or opinion. And finally, we got the Hideous Zippleback itself. Now we have a little game of how to build your dragon with putting the tail on the back of the dragon. Oh, that was actually a lot more easy than I expected. Now, one thing I will say is that I kinda didn't really expect for them to not actually paint the red scales on the tail. Like, you can see the whole thing's red right here, but then it slowly fades back into the dark green. Like, I feel like that's a little bit lazy, but I'll let it slide this one time. And the two tips of the tail are two tails itself. I like that. And as for articulation, back legs move all the way, front legs move all the way, and like all the other dragons, the Hideous Zippleback also has a little dragon emblem on its stomach. And the wings are on ball joints, which is always an incredible thing to see. I love it. I also love the scale of the wings on the dragon. Not bad at all. I actually really love this thing. And as for the heads, they both rotate both ways. That way, up, down, however you want. And the face sculpting on these things, wow. Just wow. This looks so much cooler than it does on the poster. And as you can see, both of the heads have saddles for Ruffnut and Tuffnut to actually ride on. Let's go ahead and get them on there actually. And just like all the other Vikings in these toys, all Vikings have holes on both of their legs so that way they can be able to fit on top of the saddles of their dragon. And after a while of trying to get both Ruffnut and Tuffnut onto their saddles, here it is. Ruffnut and Tuffnut on top of the Hideous Zippleback. Now, this really was kind of a struggle to get them on top of their saddles, with Tuffnut's legs keep popping out of their ball joints a few seconds. But after a while, you'll eventually get them in there. And it doesn't really matter which neck you put them on, but it matters to me, because when you're a big How to Train Your Dragon fan like me, you know what is right and what is wrong. And as for a quick scale comparison, here is the Hideous Zippleback and Ruffnut and Tuffnut right next to the Hiccup and Toothless figure that we literally just looked at. And as you can see, it is definitely a lot more taller than Toothless. And another scale comparison with the Power Dragon Barf and Belch from How to Train Your Dragon 2 with the racing stripes on their wings. Now, this is obviously just a repainted version of the Zippleback that they gave us from 2012 or 2013 from Defenders of Berk, where there was a button back here that makes you flap the wings, and there's two other buttons back here to make you put the heads up and down. So this is actually my second Zippleback in my whole collection, while this one was my very first. Pause. Give me a few seconds. I'm doing something big for y'all. And as for a giant comparison, here is the Hideous Zippleback compared to all the other dragons with their riders that I have reviewed so far. And now that I have all the dragons here together in one place, this truly feels complete. And as for a more nostalgic comparison, here are all the old How to Train Your Dragon toys. Here's my Power Dragon Racing Stripes Hook Fang, Meat Lug, Barf and Belch, Stormfly, and my 2010 generic Toothless. And one last quick scale comparison before we end off this review. Here is the 2025 Hideous Zippleback compared to the giant Titan Red Death that we reviewed a while ago. As you can see, the Hideous Zippleback is pretty big, but not bigger than the Red Death, and certainly not bigger compared to the Snotlout and Hook Fang that came in the final battle pack. Yeah, I think besides the Red Death, Hook Fang definitely takes the win for the largest dragon that they have released so far. But yep. And with that being said, this is going to pretty much wrap it up for this toy unboxing video of another amazing line of How to Train Your Dragon toys for the live action adaptation that will be soaring into theaters June 13th. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, then be sure to leave a like, comment down below your favorite part of this video, and subscribe to the channel, and turn on your post notification bell so you don't miss any future videos and toy unboxing videos that I upload for you guys to enjoy. And if you guys would like to follow me on my social medias, the link will be in the description down below, as well as the link to my second YouTube channel, so make sure you go and follow me there. And to confirm if you watched my unboxing video from beginning to end, make sure you comment 5 dragon emojis. And I just want to give a shout out to Logan 30acre, the creator of SML, aka Jeffy. Congratulations for getting your ads back on your YouTube channel. We saved SML. Congrats. So that means SML is here to stay until 2034, because apparently, for those that don't know, Logan said that he plans on retiring from YouTube sometime in the year 2034. But anyway, congrats to Logan. Thank you guys for watching, and I will definitely be seeing this new How to Train Your Dragon movie on its opening night, Friday, June 13th, 2025. So expect some pictures and clips on my Instagram. But with that being said, I will see you guys in the next video. Make sure you comment your favorite toy that How to Train Your Dragon has released so far. But with that being said, I'll see you guys next time. And until then, peace out, my fellow Dragon Riders.